Welcome along to episode 779 of The Milk Bar. Jason Forrest here with you as ever. And coming up on the show this week, we'll be hearing from Who Zoo and Dinosaur World's Will Dorrell as he lets us know what they've got going on for the whole of the half term and beyond. Jon Davies lets us know about his latest book, I Never Could Get the Hang of Thursdays, which brings the TV script of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy to life with annotation. We'll be having an natter with the Backstreet Theatre Company all about their show Switched. Desiree Henry joins us to find out about Team GB and the what's going on with their prep for the Olympics, and talking about how supplements can make a massive difference to your state of mind when getting into these things too. Plus, JJ Chalmers will be along to let us know about the National Lottery's inspirational game changers too. That's all on the way on the show this week.
Welcome to the Milk Bar. 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 Welcome to the Milk Bar.
Things never stand still at Who, Zoo and Dinosaur World. Will Dorrell is here to tell us how fast they're moving. How are you, sir? You all right?
Hi, Jason. Yeah, good. Thank you. You?
I'm good, thank you. And it's been a little while since I've had a chance to get over there. In fact, it's nearly 2 years ago since I last had a wander around the park. It was amazing then, but you've got even more stuff coming now.
Yes, thanks. Yeah. It has been a while, hasn't it? Yeah. So we've just opened. We're just opening our Land of the Beasts area, which is an Ice Age themed area with some Ice Age animatronics, such as the woolly mammoth, and won't give too much away, but obviously other favourites from that sort of period. So it's a very busy time.
And on top of that, of course, with half term here, there's going to be plenty for people to do down there. And it's vitally important as ever to book ahead.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, well, we provide a financial incentive now for people to book ahead. So as long as you book before midnight of the night before when you're wanting to visit, you'll get £3 per ticket off. So that that adds up. Obviously, if you've got quite a few of you coming, so it's definitely worth booking ahead. It's also important to point out that we offer a wet weather guarantee, so a rainy day return. If it rains for 2 hours continuously whilst you're with us, then you can come back free of charge anytime within the next month. So particularly with how the weather's been, that's obviously quite important. But again, you only get that if you book online in advance. So yeah, it's very, very important to do that.
And you will see Will stood outside of the stopwatch if it starts to drizzle. So that'll be interesting.
That's pretty much my job day to day at the moment.
But obviously, lots to see down there as well. And not only have you got the usual walkthrough, but you've got the annual experiences people can book on too.
That's right. Yeah. So they're very, very popular with we do meerkat experiences, lemur experiences, a meerkat and lemur experience in case you can't choose between the two of them. And then we also do a couple of experiences sort of for older people that are 16 years and above, which are the cat and the wolf breakfast. So those are ones where you get sort of hand feed the wolves or hand feed some of the cats like the Eurasian lynx. Those ones are fence feed, so it's all the other side of the fence. But again, they're very popular and a very good way for people to learn a bit about the conservation behind those animals.
Absolutely. And I say, having seen the lemur experience in action, it is absolutely phenomenal, that one. And there's so much there for the kids, but also, I mean, that one can be adults too, can't it?
Yes, yeah, definitely. I mean, we have, when we originally started the experiences, we kind of expected that it was going to be primarily children who did it, but actually, it's mostly adults. We still have a fair amount of children who take part, and the minimum ages of them sort of range between 6 and 8. But yeah, a lot of adults take part as well, which is great. I mean, why should the kids get to have all the fun?
Absolutely. And I mean, this is one of the reasons that, I mean, it's a family run park and you've grown up with it, and it must be an amazing experience being part of that. I mean, you like very much the Midlands own Irwin family.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I perhaps wouldn't go that far. But yeah, yeah. As you said, we're I've literally grown up in the I've grown up here, spent my entire life here, and sort of grown up in the industry as well. And I've got two young kids as well now, a 4 and a 6-year-old who equally don't quite yet realise that it's not that normal to just be able to walk around a zoo whenever you want to. And my 4-year-old keeps telling everyone that the dinosaurs are his as well. So yeah, it's that has its own unique challenges, I suppose.
a pet dinosaur at 4 that's actually 16 foot tall. Absolutely amazing. I love that idea. But and there's going to be a fight over the woolly mammoth between the kids by the sounds of things too.
Oh yes, they've already had that discussion, and yeah, it's like I said, it's a challenge at times, making them realise that that is not normal. But yeah, it's a little bit different anyway.
It's normal in the Dorrell family, which is what counts. So, so you've got an amazing site down there, and if people do come down, obviously there is everything you need for a full day out. You can bring a picnic. In fact, I did last time I went, just because my nephews are a nightmare to try and get to buy food anywhere unless they've got the menu 3 weeks in advance.
Oh, yeah.
But you've got that, but you've also got the fact that you've got some brilliant restaurants down there too.
Yeah. So we've, as you said, we allow people to bring their own picnics. We've got no issues over that, and have multiple picnic areas around site where people can eat. We have a T-Rex tea room here as well that serves simple fast foods, so things like burgers and hot dogs and stuff like that, which is very, very popular. And then equally, there's some quite nice sort of pubs and cafes, only sort of like a mile or two from us, and you're welcome to leave and come back throughout the day. So we really kind of try and make a point of making it as much of a day out as possible. The majority of people who come to us will spend between 4 and 5 hours here. We really sort of try to pack that day full as much as possible.
And I think even at 4 and 5 hours, you're just skimming the surface because you can do all of it and so much more at a nice, relaxed pace. Sit down, enjoy it. Everything from the lorikeet enclosure through to all the rest of the animals that you see, civets and the like. Because you do like your big cats, don't you?
Yes, we do. Yes, we've got quite a few different species of animals. We've got just over 300 animals in total, and around about 90 different species. And yeah, as you said, we sort of focus a lot on the cats, the cat species. So we've made a deliberate point of staying away from your well-known cats, your lions and your tigers and stuff like that, and really giving the more obscure, the smaller species, time to shine. Things like servals, caracal, African civets aren't technically a cat, but again, they're not an animal you see very, very often.
I know nothing.
Yeah, exactly. So
I didn't read everything properly.
no, exactly. So well, it doesn't matter. Everyone thinks of them as a cat anyway. But yeah, you've got like I said, we have quite a large variety of different animals. That's something we've always sort of tried to really sort of focus on, is being unique and giving these animals that perhaps might disappear at bigger, more famous collections, shall we say, give them sort of their time to shine.
And birds do not get missed out at all here, do they? Because there's some amazing of our feathered friends in your collection.
There is, yeah. So we've got owls, a kookaburra. We've then also got sort of multiple parrots as well. The ostriches and the emu, they're very popular. And again, we're sort of making a point now through our talks and other sort of displays of sort of really kind of linking our feathered friends to the dinosaurs, because ultimately that's sort of where they came from. And yeah, sort of through the various talks and stuff that we do, there's the opportunity to hold an ostrich egg, hold an emu egg, and things like that, and find out a bit more about where these animals came from.
And all that, alongside you said, we've mentioned the new Ice Age feature and briefly touched on the dinosaurs, but that is a walkthrough which I know you are immensely proud of, and so you should be. What I've seen so far is already one of the most impressive dinosaur displays that I've ever seen, and it looks really good and just set so well within the area of the park that you've got it.
Yes, I mean, yes. Well, thanks very much. Yeah, we're very, very lucky in that we had a lot of natural forest, which and all of a lot of the forest was, without getting too geeky about it, was correct to the time of the dinosaurs. So we didn't have to do a massive amount of work in that behalf, which was great, and it meant that we could focus more on sort of what dinosaurs we brought in and all of that. And we've made a real point of making it educational. We steered away from your stereotypical sort of dinosaurs that you find in certain film franchises that I won't mention, and sort of going towards things that, as far as we know, are more accurate and more historically correct. And again, we feel that it's really important. It might sort of kind of seem gimmicky, and yeah, animatronics to a certain extent are gimmicky, but we feel that it's important because it can help educate children and adults. You know, these animals were around once and they went extinct, and there's absolutely no reason why the animals that we see today won't at some point go extinct, potentially in our lifetimes. So, you know, they do have an important conservation message about today's wildlife, not just, you know, the dinosaurs and the Ice Age.
Yeah, well, so the Ice Age exhibition, I'm very much looking forward to getting along to see. And you've got a number of experts who have been doing talks and the like, haven't you?
Yes, yeah. So we did a bit of work with Nigel Marvin last year, who sort of a lot of people remember from Walking with Dinosaurs and Prehistoric Park, yeah, we're sort of very pleased that he gave us permission to say that he thinks our dinosaurs are the most realistic he's come across. So I'm quite, you know, I'm very happy with that one. But yeah, we did a bit of work with him. He came down, did a special event for us last year, and did some YouTube videos that you can find on our YouTube page as well. And yeah, he's coming back again at the end of this half term. The 1st and 2nd of June, he's coming back for another event here then.
So again, check out all those details online. See how you can book yourself in for that one. And yeah, any film screenings on the way this summer?
Yes, so August bank holiday weekend, we will be showing Jurassic Park out in the dinosaur field, and we'll be having live actors, live vehicles, moving vehicles, I should say, not live ones because that'd be weird. But live actors, moving vehicles, moving dinosaurs, all set to, you know, the cinema of Jurassic Park. If anyone again wants to sort of get a taste of what that's like, we did a trailer video for it on last year's Jurassic Park, and that's up on our YouTube page. We'll be sharing that again in the coming months, but you can go get a sneak peek on there.
Okay, so yeah, where do we find all of this then? So we're looking on Facebook and of course your website and YouTube too.
Yeah, Facebook, YouTube. We're on pretty much all of them nowadays. Yeah, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. We're now on TikTok as well. So give us a follow on TikTok if you're on there. It's taken me a long time to get onto there because I'm not even on it personally. I'm still learning how it works.
You're getting a bit old now for TikTok, to be fair.
Do you know what? That is the very sad thing, is that I am. I'm even too old for Instagram now. I'm just about Facebook and Twitter. That's about, and even to, well, not even Twitter. It's X, and I don't even use that. So it's literally Facebook for me. That's pretty much.
Okay, but where do we find the zoo?
Yeah, so the zoo itself is found Newport side of Telford. Easiest way to do it is from Wolverhampton, follow the M54, get off at Junction 4, and go from there. Or if you're coming from Wales, M54 Junction 6, and then we have brown signposts from there. Alternatively, yeah, if you're coming from sort of up north Cheshire way, then yeah, come down through Newport and you'll pick up our brown signposts off the A518.
That's the way to do it. And that website to book those tickets in advance.
Yeah, that's the important one. So the website is www.who, that's HOO-zoo.com.
who-zoo.com. Grab your tickets, get them cheaper in advance. And of course, you also know that you've got a ticket for the day and you'll be able to get in, because it will get busy throughout the whole of half term and the summer. So you need to make sure you are ready, booked to go along and enjoy the experience. And it's a good one too. It's absolutely amazing. Great value for money and incredible fun. And I say the dinosaurs I love, but it's also wonderful seeing the meerkats and everything else too. But for now, Will Dorrell from Who, Zoo and Dinosaur World, thank you for joining us.
Wonderful. Thanks very much, Jason.
Backstreet Theatre are back in action when they bring Switch to the stage. It's where the Backstreet Boys become the Backstreet Girls and vice versa, with some amazing music along the way. I have 4 of their number to try and explain more, as they are going to be on stage on the 12th and 13th of July. Hello, gang. Hello. Right, we'll work this way along. Who have we got and what? Do you know what you're doing in this, Chef?
More or less.
Okay,
yeah.
so what's your name?
It's Craig.
That's a good start. And what songs are you performing, and what sort of characters are you taking on?
Little Mermaid, stuff from Wicked. It's a good varied amount of music. It's nice to take on the female roles as a male.
Yeah, because Ariel songs are fantastic, aren't they?
Oh, God, yeah. Who doesn't love Disney?
No, so you're having a magical time.
Oh, God, yeah.
So that's going to be good. And have you found any notes you can't hit yet?
More than one.
I know. Have they adjusted the keys for you?
No.
No. Okay, tight underwear?
Definitely.
That'll be part. When you get the costumes, you'll know.
100% tight underwear.
That will work.
Superman.
Every time, right? So you are, and what are you going to be doing?
I'm Laura, and I play Sherry. So it's basically following my story, going through, a new theatre company and deciding what I want to do.
Yeah, because I mean, this is going to have a lot of script
Yeah.
that's been put together for this Switch show, which is unique to you.
Yeah.
And then a load of great songs have been selected around it, but you get that journey. So, what's your take on all these people that you meet along the way then?
I'm just like in awe of them all. I just want to be like them. I think they're like amazing. So I'm trying my hardest to try and be like them.
So, Ariel is going to be an inspiration to you?
Ariel is going to be an inspiration.
Even with 5
to
o'clock
me.
shadow?
Even with 5 o'clock shadow.
Okay, that's going to work well.
Someone to look up to.
Well, yeah. So, trim your nose hair. But what do we have next, please?
Hi, I'm Gail and I play the director of the Switched workshop that the show is based around.
And so, how do you, to give a take on this, so do you explain during the show why you're doing it, or is that part of the mystery?
I think hopefully in my representation it will ring a few bells with people that have been part of theatre groups in the past and have had some maybe challenging directors to work with, so hopefully bringing through some of those kind of like characters really.
Yeah, I mean, the world of Amdram and professional theatre always has some very special people for various different reasons.
Yes, exactly.
So embodying them all.
Yeah, in one person hopefully.
Okay, that should be good. And now, finally, in this little section, at the very least, explain what you're up to, sir, and who you are.
So I'm Jack, and essentially I'm the love interest of Sherry's character during this whole show, if you like.
So you don't have to switch on any of your singing?
Oh no,
or
I do.
You
I absolutely
okay.
do switch. So I also get the joys of being a Disney princess. So you get Little Mermaid.
But you do look like that's your thing, though.
Which princess would you say?
I think you see you Cinderella, to be fair.
I'm Elsa, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah.
From Frozen. But close blonde hair. Like,
Yeah.
But I don't quite lose a slipper in this one. I just have to turn everything Frozen. But no, yeah. So we kind of get to explore all the different relationships that you get to see within a theatre company, to be honest, and you'll see, I don't want to drop too many spoilers obviously, but you get to explore that really well throughout this show.
And the music that's been selected, I know we've got stuff from Greece in there, that's going to be fun to do. I mean, have you got a role in that one?
I am, what's the girls called in Greece, what's their name? So
You're a pink
I'm a pink lady, yeah.
Okay.
I'm a pink lady.
Yeah, and are your legs ready for this?
They might need a shave.
But are you taking it that far? I mean, it is...
No, hairy legs.
It is, yeah. It's going to...
Yeah. It's not like we're becoming women and the women are becoming men. Like we are playing men, but we're just singing the women's songs and vice versa. So we're not kind of trying to make it out that we're women, not at all.
No, because you'll keep your drag for other times.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so it's all taking place on the 12th and 13th of July. So rehearsals are going on as well. Rehearsals are happening the other side of that door, even as we speak. Yeah. And have you had favourite bits of the show so far as it's come together? Who wants to take that one first?
Yes.
Okay, we can't shut him up, right?
You can't shut me up now. The Disney princess medley. I know we both mentioned it already, but it's been put together by our MD. Like it's not something that's like out there for people to do. Like he's written it himself, and he's allowing us
Him and his brother
put it together. And
it's fantastic.
he's allowing us to, and it's such a fantastically well put together number. And when we
Just
were
get to have
rehearsing,
fun, don't
it's
we?
just going to be so much fun to do. So that's for me anyway.
And of the girls who don't get to be boys, I mean, what is it that really stands out for you during this?
I think the final number, because it's a real showstopper and it involves everyone, and there's a great routine to go with it, and it's just a great song to end on.
Great ending, yeah.
We've got
Puts the whole
Dancing
show
Hills
together.
for that one though, ain't we? So we're a bit sceptical about that one.
Not going to give away to what
Yeah.
the song could be there.
Okay, well, I don't know. There's quite. It's just possible there's a number that could fit in with that one quite well. But I said the fact that you've got songs from so many shows means you can choose the best of all of them, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly right, yeah.
So it's going to be something to look forward to. Tickets are available by emailing, and that's backstreettickets@gmail.com. So we can get our tickets that way. They'll be online later on as well. So you've all got Facebook pages for the group, have we? So where did you just search Backstreet Theatre?
Backstreet Theatre Company on Facebook, yeah. We've also got an Instagram page as well. And I think they're trying to get the TikTok page up and running as well. So
we could soon see you doing a bit of Frozen on TikTok.
possibly, you'll have to wait and see.
Okay, it could happen. Right, so it's going to be something to look forward to. Now, it's all taking place at the Staffordshire University Academy, which might be a new venue for some people. What's the theatre like there?
Well, I work there, so...
You're going to say it's great?
It's absolutely amazing, yeah. No, without being biased, it's a really, really good space. The audience are going to feel really, really comfortable, and say it's the first time for us performing there, so we're really looking forward to it.
And when it comes to the shows, are there sets to tie in with this? Will we see a car from Greece as the pink ladies dance around? Or?
Because it's been run like a workshop, no. Well, it's going to be like looking into a rehearsal essentially, but we're telling a story at the same time. So it's really, really intriguing, and it's a really, really interesting idea that we're all really excited for.
Okay, well, it's going to be good. Backstreet Theatre are always absolutely fantastic performers. It's going to be an amazing show by the sounds of it, and it won't be something you've ever seen before, and depending on how it goes, it may be something you'd never see again. But it is going to be good fun for everybody involved. They're brilliant performers, great singers, and you're going to love the show. Thank you, gang. Have a brilliant time. Break a leg, and don't break any of our heels or any other issues, and don't do anything weird with Olav, okay?
I'll try my best.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now, fingers crossed, there'll be lots of golden moments for our athletes at the Paris Olympics this year. Desiree Henry is one of those heading off to represent Team GB, and I'm hoping that she can get some great gold on our behalf. It's all your work. We just bask in the glory. How you doing?
No, I'm doing fantastic right now. I absolutely love that introduction too. And I'm looking forward to the games, of course. But I guess for me right now, step one is actually qualifying and making the team. That actually happens next month. So I've got all my focus and hard work and concentration into the next few weeks and really just ensuring that, as I said, step number one, I'm making the team.
Well, yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to take a break to get into a radio studio to have a natter with a few people. So you must be having a good time with some time off. But I mean, you've already been at the track this morning, haven't you?
Yes, well, you know what? You guys have caught me on a good day. Wednesdays is always my scheduled recovery day. So you know what? Even after this, I'm actually going to my sports recovery place. So just a little conversation with some lovely people in the morning and then back to the normal sports recovery in the late afternoon.
Well, that keeps you out of trouble, keeps you feeling fit. But I mean, how does the schedule come together for preparations for something like this? Because you may be qualifying next month, but this has been several years getting yourself to the right place.
Exactly. This is definitely isn't like an overnight type of thing. It's definitely something that at the beginning of last season, so this is talking last year, October, that's where I would have had my conversation with my coach in regards to, okay, well, how do we make sure that a year leading in or this upcoming season and year, we're doing absolutely everything that we can to ensure that my body, my mind, my everything is in the right place to, make the team. And I think by that, we've been taking it a week at a time. He's the man with a master plan, with a training program, and it's just for me as an athlete to believe in it and do my part on the track as well as off the track.
Yeah, I mean, because there are setbacks along the way very often. Has it been an injury-free year for you? Says touching wood, and I hope it stays that way.
Yes, there's wood right on this table, so I'm tapping it a couple times right now. But it's actually been an amazing injury-free season so far. I have had injuries in the past. This is all the way in 2019 and 2021, where I did have knee surgeries. But I'm so glad that that's a thing of the past. I'm so glad that my body's recovering and responding well. So at this stage, I feel like I'm back on the even playing field, and now it's just for me to go out there and really do my best.
Well, we are rooting for you. But when it comes down to it, I mean, the preparation is everywhere, from the track, through the kitchen, through to everything else that you need to make sure your body and mind are in tip-top condition for all of this.
Exactly. At this point, there is nothing that I'm doing that I haven't planned or haven't organized in a way, because it's just all about keeping a routine and to an extent making sure that that routine allows me to recover. So even once I get home, I know that I've a dog, a sausage dog. I've got to take him on, say, about a 20-minute walk. Unfortunately, I can't take him on a 2-hour walk because I would have already spent 7-8 hours already at the track. But again, I just kind of use all of those opportunities, such as walking my dog, as a moment just to kind of switch off, really reflect on my day and the training session, and of course spend some quality time with my little dog.
Absolutely, sounds like a brilliant way of doing things. And I mean, he's going to be cheering you on as well, in as much as a sausage
sure.
can. But when it comes down to that food and the supplements that you take as well, obviously as an athlete you have to be careful what you are taking, but equally making sure that everything's right, and you've got all the vitamins, minerals, and the other stuff that make your body work and keep your mind ticking over too.
Exactly. I think for me, something that has worked really, really well is taking Solgar vitamins and supplements, just because they have a wide range of all different things, such as for me, it's like a one-stop shop. So I can get my magnesium, but then I can also get my krill oils and other oils, and just allowing me to kind of, again, simplify things. But then also you touched on the thing that as a professional athlete, there are certain supplements that I can't take. So in regards to my protein, etc., etc. That's where I target brands that are Informed Sport verified. And it essentially just means that these brands have gone to a specific sporting lab and made sure that every single one of their products tested is technically legally allowed for individual athletes such as myself. And so between taking Solgar vitamins and then obviously Informed Sport protein, that's just like my perfect combination, really.
And, yeah, and it makes it easier to get what you need when you need it as well, because
Yes.
although I'm sure your diet is something we'd all envy, it's still, something which is very much under control.
Yes, most definitely. And you know what? Over the most like recent years, I've just learned to try and have a healthy relationship with food, because sometimes it can become very, very repetitive, especially given what I'm trying to do. And it just means finding different ways to have, as we call, protein. Protein comes in different sources. It can be nuts, it can be fish, it can be chicken. And I think it's just allowing myself to kind of have fun with the journey, as well as allowing myself to really provide it with the things that's going to allow it to recover, etc. So yeah, for me, a healthy balance and a healthy relationship with food is also just so important, because again, we all want to enjoy our meals.
Yeah, but it's the fuel that runs you around that track, isn't it?
Exactly. And fueling yourself powerfully, you want to fuel yourself with the best of the best type of stuff. And I feel like that's what kind of gives you not only the physical edge, but the mental edge, just knowing that you've taken that extra time to make sure, again, that you're taking your vitamins, that you're taking your supplements, etc., so that you know that your body essentially is a fast moving machine, and a healthy one at that too.
Well, there's wherever condition you're in, though, taking vitamins and stuff will help, because even with the diet that you're on that's well monitored, you still will need additions. I mean, vitamin D is vitally important alongside vitamin C for immune health, and you want to make sure you're not getting sniffles before you run around and
Yes.
try and get a fast time.
Exactly that. And I always just have to remind people that, I am a professional athlete, but I'm also a person too. So therefore, when it even comes to the common cold and all that kind of stuff, I've got to take extra precautions just to make sure that I am recovering and recovering well. I think Solgar even has like an S-to-C 24-hour immune systems patch or sachet that you can just like add to water. I've literally had that like a couple times before training, if I ever feel like I have a cold coming on. And again, it just makes sure that I'm strengthening up my immune system so that I can also be strong on the track.
Absolutely. It's inside and outside that makes a difference. And yeah, that
Exactly.
speed is all part of the nature of what you're doing. And I say we wish you absolutely the best of luck in qualifying. Fingers crossed we will see you running for us in the pictures from Paris as we head through the summer. And, it's all about the experience as well, because being a part of that Olympic village, that's going to be amazing.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's the whole thing. It's not just being able to be on the track and represent yourself. You're also remembering that you're representing your country, you're representing your nation, and even being amongst other Olympians from all different walks of life and literally all around the world is such an amazing experience being in that village. Again, I like to describe it as like, being in a forest in a way where you never know what you're going to see. You've got the tallest of tallest athletes there to the smallest gymnasts there. It's just like amazing to experience and see. And I just hope that it motivates and inspires whoever to just kind of know that there isn't a particular mold as to what an Olympian looks like, and you too can be one as long as you work hard for it.
Look in the mirror, get yourself into shape. You could be that next runner. You could be already, as Desiree is, an Olympic bronze medalist. We know you're doing everything you can within your power to get that silver or gold. We're happy even if you get another bronze, to be fair. But however that success comes, we are looking forward to seeing your name up there on a scoreboard in some way or form. So if we are looking at improving our vitamins and minerals in our diet, where can we go to?
Yes, so you can actually go to the solgar.co.uk website. There they have quite a lot of blogs providing information as to, what vitamins and supplements to take, and ultimately how it affects your body and affects your well-being. So that's where you can find some more information.
Desiree Henry, have a great time. Fingers crossed in Paris this summer. And we look forward to you representing Team GB again, as long as those few moments come together on that track and you get to qualify for us.
There we go. Thank you so much for your support. I really, really appreciate it.
And I just realized we haven't done the website, so I'm going to go back and we'll edit this in. So I'll just say, now from battlefields to blooms, JJ Chalmers is looking at mental health alongside the Chelsea Flower Show. And he joins me now for a bit of a natter. Hello, sir.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. Good to talk to you again. And what's going on in your world at the moment? Because you're exploring the glorious world of RHS Chelsea.
Exactly. So I'm down at Chelsea for the week, and yeah, glorious is the word. We've had 2 fantastic days so far, and some gorgeous gardens, but actually, most importantly, an amazing community of people. Just the, it's just a wonderful thing to get to be part of. Everyone with a shared passion, and so much creativity. It's amazing.
And with that creativity, using the materials they have, the glorious world around us, and the wonderful landscapes that are built out there, it is just phenomenal, isn't it? And it's just something for the eye to behold.
Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous, and every year, people coming up with new concepts, new ways to use materials, new ways to use the space. I mean, the amazing thing about Chelsea is 3 weeks ago it was just the Chelsea Pensioners' back garden, and all of a sudden it gets turned into this the showground, and for a week it's just this amazing hive of activity, and then a week later it's sort of taken down. But equally, those gardens go off to corners of the country to be used in as spaces, whether it's for recoveries or for communities. It's such an amazing, as I say, community.
Because I mean, when it comes to looking after our mental health, the great outdoors has an absolute massive effect on us, and just greenery and fresh air is huge. And this is all part of the work the National Lottery are doing alongside yourself. Because I mean, you've had one heck of a mental health journey with the things that you went through in Afghanistan, and everything that's sort of followed on from that. Rebuilding your life when you were a blooming inspiration. I know you're not going to sit there and tell me that yourself, but I will tell you that. But there's so much that can be done to aid our mental health, and the National Lottery are working towards that goal.
Yeah, listen, that's very kind of you to say. And I suppose it's 13 years next week, actually, since I was wounded in Afghanistan. And it's been quite a journey. The recovery was one part of it, but then the transition into a new career. And listen, we all live with mental health, good or bad. And, we all have our struggles and whatnot, but we also have our coping strategies. And the great outdoors, gardening, etc., has been a part of my recovery. And what's lovely about what the National Lottery are doing now, first of all, 30 years of the National Lottery. Can we stop to reflect on how old I feel? That I still remember that first night that it launched. But what I love about it, and to celebrate this 30 years, is how many lives it has changed in the process, because now we're getting generational about it. So I'm sat in a garden just outside King's Cross. It's the Story Garden, and I'm literally looking out across a wonderful community of people who are from kids being taught in a yurt to people that are sort of in here, gardening this little bit of land in this part of London, and ultimately, the National Lottery has supported this scheme as they have, arts, they have sport, they've done horticulture, you name it, for 30 years. And they haven't just changed the lives of those people that they have funded, but those people have then gone on to change the lives of others. And so we want to try and find 30 inspirational people this year who are game changers in their community. They've been supported by the National Lottery, and they've gone on to support others. So we'd love people to nominate those heroes who do it for selfless reasons, let's be honest, but actually it's their chance to get the recognition that they deserve.
Yeah, and mental engagement, whatever it is that is helping people to help others, and okay. There's been thousands of millionaires made by the lottery now, but that's not the only way it makes a difference. I want to be on that list, but I'm quite happy being on the other one, because there are community projects across the nation. You've probably been involved with the National Lottery and never even realised it.
That's such an important thing, as you probably never even realized. I mean, we're going to watch our Olympians and Paralympians go to Paris this summer, and they have all been supported by the National Lottery, and they are perfect game changers. It's not just about them winning their medals, but it's the impact that they then have in wider society. But actually, it's not just about those superstars, it's about those very ordinary people who do extraordinary things on a daily basis, that ultimately we want to try and give one of these wonderful trophies to. That classic "it could be you" cross finger that we all sort of know so well for the past 30 years. We'd love people to nominate those unsung heroes, and for them to get the recognition they deserve.
Absolutely, and it'll help them do even more great work. And that's the other good thing too, isn't it?
Yeah, and listen, again, the types of people we're talking about do for their own selfless reasons. But when you're given the recognition, all they do is double down and do more. So you know, you're listening right now, you will know somebody like that. And we would love you to head over to the National Lottery website, get onto the Game Changers tab that's on there and nominate that person, because yes, they will get the recognition they deserve, and then ultimately they will continue and double down their efforts to do even more.
So give us the full web address then. Where are we going to?
So you're heading to the lotterygoodcauses.org.uk, and then you want to find /Game Changers, the Game Changers page that's within there. You've got until the 17th of June to get those nominations in by midday, I should say, as well. So make sure you get those in. And again, we're looking for 30 people. We'll end up with thousands of nominations. And all of them are winners, because ultimately they're the type of people that are making the world a better place. But 30 of them will be recognised for this big 30th anniversary.
Well, that's going to be good to see. Great to see so many people receiving an award off the back of what they're just doing as day to day, but actually really is making a difference to so many.
Absolutely, that's it. It's people that are ordinary but do extraordinary things.
Well, you're going to have an extraordinary time down at the Chelsea Flower Show. Enjoy the rest of your tour of the gardens. Have a fantastic time, JJ Chalmers. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Now, Sunday Times #1 bestseller, which is a phrase I absolutely adore. Kevin Jon Davies is with me now. We're going to have a little bit of an answer about a forthcoming book and more stuff too, but we'll do a bit more explaining on his role in a magical universe as well. Last year, we saw him hit the top of the charts with 42. This took a little look at some of the world of Douglas Adams and some stuff that many a fan will not have seen before. And he's with me now to explain exactly what he's been up to. All right.
It's nice to see you again, Jason.
Good
We'll
to
have to
see you
meet one
too.
day in person. We keep doing this virtual thing.
Yep, that'd be good. Maybe on a tail day. We can dig out
Yeah,
the
or
25th of May
something.
and try and find somewhere to be.
Busy towel day yesterday.
Yeah, you're surrounded by tails even as we speak.
I was. There's my original 1985 towel, which was by a company called Beer Davis, no connection to me. A guy called Eugene Beer, who was a friend of Douglas's, a PR man, thought it'd be good to manufacture some towels, and he tried to sell them to Marks and Spencers, but they went, "Oh, we don't do that sort of thing." So he marketed it himself, and it was a great thing. And if they come up on eBay nowadays, they're worth about 200 or 300 quid. You can't get hold of them. It's woven. It's the text from the first novel about towels woven into the actual material. And then this other one, because I'm
Wrong shoulder.
confused. That one is like a bar towel from the 2012 stage tour that Dirt Mags did.
I saw it in London, though, and very much enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, it was great. And Dirt Mags is a good friend and a brilliant radio producer, director, adapter of scripts. He knew Douglas, and Douglas had chosen him to continue Hitchhikers in its original format on radio. I don't know if everyone knows, but that's where it all began, as a very quietly on Radio 4, a little 6-part radio series, and it just went boom, and suddenly he was rich and famous.
And
He was a very lucky man.
He was, yes.
Not so lucky in later life, because
No.
unfortunately he died way too young.
I know.
At 49. It was a terrible shock to all who loved him and knew him, and people that loved his work. Just wished he'd been surviving and doing more these days. Who knows what he would have eventually done.
There'd probably been ream upon ream of Dirk Gently and the rest out there.
Well, maybe. I think he would have done more serious science books. All his reading at that time in later life was about real science. He was fascinated by ecology, became a great champion of things like the Dian Fossey Gorilla Fund and Save the Rhino International, found a patron of that. And he just became fascinated by evolution, the evolutionary science, a little bit of, more space physics and astronomy and things. He was just an avid reader of all that kind of stuff, and I think a book on that line might have come out. Did you ever read his only factual book?
Well, the which one were you talking?
Last
the
Chance to See.
Last Chance to See. No, I haven't.
I recommend it, because it's actually one of his funniest books, and it was his personal favourite out of the things he wrote. It was about his journeys going around the world looking at endangered species, and there's all the sort of dealing with corrupt officialdom at foreign African airstrips and getting lost in the jungle and staying at these grotty places full of insects and lizards and things. It's really fascinating, and he makes it so funny, based on his adventures.
That's one to dig out the library or down. In fact, I tell you, I'm not sure whether I've heard of it in audiobook form, but having listened to the compilation of one lot of his work, which obviously Ali said it off the dent there, which Simon Jones narrated so wonderfully.
Oh yes,
I'm sure there were bits and pieces in the Salmon of Doubt that probably crossed over to that. So
I think they probably did, and I mean that was Salmon of Doubt was a collection of his writings, including what existed, what they could find on his hard drives of his final unfinished Dirk Gently novel, the third Dirk Gently novel, as it would have been. And so it's a presentation of his stuff. But I mean, other books like The Frood by Jem Roberts, they managed to get some the archive material that I went and looked at later. He'd published some stuff in the back of like appendices in the back of his book about Douglas and Hitchhiker, and then they sent me, because I knew Dirt Mags, and he asked me to go and look at the archive for the final radio show of Hitchhiker, which was based on the sixth book, the official continuation of Hitchhiker by Owen Colfer, which had a mixed reception, let's be honest.
I have to. I did say, because I've had a chat with Owen about it shortly afterwards.
Yeah, I love Owen. He's such a nice guy.
Really lovely fella. And
Yeah.
I have to admit, I didn't settle into reading the book, but the audio book with Simon Jones doing it, and then the series that Dirk made from it as well.
Yeah.
That brought it to life for me, and it fell into place then.
I loved Simon's version of Zaphod, and Simon, who's not a natural casting for Zaphod, let's be honest, but he's Irish accents that he did for the Irish characters, just very funny. And yeah, Simon's a great bloke, and I haven't been in touch with him for a while. I must talk to him again, because this new book coming up, I think maybe I should talk to all the surviving cast members and get their take on it now, all this great distance from the television show, it would be nice to, but yeah, Simon did a good reading. There are lots of different audiobooks of Douglas's work. He did some himself. Various actors did them. Stephen Moore did an abridged version, which I quite like the bits I've heard. I'm not a completist in a way. I'd like to be. I don't think I have deep enough pockets to buy every version. I mean, I've got a friend, Dave Haddock from ZZ9, the official fan club.
Dave a few times.
Dave is great. He collects the novels in every language possible from all over the place. And and I've now got to say, because he found one more. If you discount English, it's been translated into 42 different languages.
That's
the
good.
original books, and so that's extraordinary.
The number keeps coming back.
Yeah, it's just great. So no, Douglas has an international audience, which now that we're crowdfunding, if you go to unbound.com, you'll find the pages for last year's book, which is a treasure of his archive, and the forthcoming book, which will be out sort of probably October next year, is roughly what we think, which is the I Never Could Get the Hang of Thursdays, we've called it, to give a little catchy phrase, which is something Arthur Dent says at one point in the Hitchhikers TV series, and that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a book about this. The last remaining long-form Douglas Adams material that's never been published is the television scripts. And this is the cover I designed for the script of episode 5. It's, as you can see, that's how much there is.
And that's just episode 5.
That's just episode 5.
We're talking a good inch and a half, 2 inches thick of paper there.
Well, you think this, I mean, this book, when it came through the letterbox, it went crunch, and I hope there were no pets sitting underneath it when it arrived, because it's a beast.
Weighty toe. It's very much a coffee table book, isn't it?
It really is. You could just screw 4 legs on it and make it into a coffee table, I reckon. But it's the facsimiles of Douglas's work from cradle to grave. It's all his actual notebooks, notes, script drafts, and terrible handwriting and awful typing. He's the world's fastest two-finger typer, said his brother. And they could hear it rattling in the room upstairs at the family home where he typed it down in Dorset. And I'm going down there in a couple of weeks, actually. I'm going to do the Sturminster Newton Literary Festival, which is in the area of where Douglas's family, quite a lot of them still live,
Yeah.
around that neighbourhood in that part of Dorset. And Douglas used to sort of go for early morning runs up and down the country lanes to try and, get it out of his system. And because he's very sedentary lifestyle, sitting there typing. He had local jobs in the area. He once crashed a tractor as a youth and broke his pelvis in a local business there. And he used to sit there in his room, and his brother James said to me, he used to stare out the window. And at one point there was a bulldozer smashing down a property that he could see out the window. And we wonder how much of that was percolating in his mind as he wrote the very first HitchHikers radio show script. And so I'm looking forward to, maybe I might hook up with some of the family while I'm down there. I've got to know them a little bit. And they've given the nod and approval on this book now, which is how we were able to launch on Friday, unbound.com, with the crowdfunding phase. This is how they operate. So if you want to pre-order the book and get your name in it, maybe, and things like that, go and take a look at unbound.com and just look for something called I Never Could Get the Hang of Thursdays. And there's a whole description there and some rough mock-up. They're only mock-up pages at the moment, but essentially what you're going to get is those scripts annotated by me, with little anecdotes and stories, little bit of factual information. I did it for the DVD. If you've got the television series of Hitchhiker from 1981, if you have either the 2002 or the 2018 DVD releases, there are optional subtitles that you can switch on and off. If you know the show well, watch it for first through if you don't know it well. And then if you want to watch it again, switch these subtitles on. And it's kind of like a practice run for the book, because
so it's like the guide is there with you.
It's like, and the thing about the Hitchhikers, which Douglas realized, I think, very quickly after we did the TV show. I was one of the animators working on the we now call it the pseudo computer graphics. Douglas had written it into the script, computer graphics that will go along with the narration parts. As he said, you have a narrator on radio, you don't usually have one on telly. How are we going to do it? He said, I don't want to put Peter Jones, the legendary actor who did the voice, I don't want to have him sitting at a desk or something. That would be boring. And he thought up the idea of computer graphics. He was writing that script in the late 1979. And computer graphics then, we hadn't even had Tron. It's like nobody knew really what computer graphics would look like. And I was working for a little animation company, and I happened to have a chance meeting with Alan Bell and introduced him. Alan Bell was the producer director who was given the task of doing the TV adaptation of Hitchhiker. And I introduced him to my boss, Rod, who at the time, Rod Lord, was thinking about buying a computer, a sort of early architect's drafting system, because most of what we did was business graphics for corporate films. And it was film in those days. It was 16mm films that people used to have for their business sort of projects. And we did sort of diagram animation of industrial, technical, some medical sort of processes and things to educate people in those industries. So the very diagrammatic style was something that was very much in-house for us. It was a tiny company. I was the latest to join, and I was considerably younger than all the others. And there was only 6 of us in the company, and one of them was the secretary, so she didn't draw. But nearly all of us, would be drawing and making the tea and working the rostrum camera. I was taken on very much as a junior, and it was my first year in the business. So in a way, you could say I've been preparing for the last 44 years to do this book, because I loved it. It was my first year in the business, and I just lapped it up. I already loved the radio show. I'd already met Douglas. I'd interviewed him for a fanzine. And so I got to know him that year a little bit, because he would come and go. He'd visit us at the animation studio. We were an outside company from the BBC. BBC graphics department got a bit sniffy because they'd quoted to do the job. I don't think they were really set up to do it. I mean,
Yeah.
they would have probably ended up farming stuff out. But Rod wrote a sort of 5-page letter, which I'm hoping to put in the book, which detailed how he would do episode 1 based on the first script, which is all we had. And that was in January of 1980. And the price he budgeted at was half what BBC's own graphics department had said. So they were a bit suspicious. I don't see how they can do it for that price. You know, it was all of it kind of old school BBC disapproving noises. But once they saw the test piece that we did of the first half of the Babelfish sequence from episode 1.
You missed the word iconic, Babelfish.
No, well, it is now. I mean, at the time, we didn't know, did we? We were just pitching in a way. I mean, I think Alan was very keen. He liked us and Rod, and you know, but he brought Douglas along early one morning to see the first half of the Babelfish sequence. Just mute, nothing fancy or anything. Paddy Kingsland hadn't added his radiophonic music and sound effects, all the type running in, going biddy 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 biddy. You know, that was all yet to come. But he loved it, and he obviously it fitted what he was vaguely thinking on in his head. But he had this idea that the show should throw at you as much information as possible, kind of sensory overload of data coming in all the time. A lot of it extraneous and nonsense, but it was, in a way, it was the first ever TV show that was designed for people that could freeze frame on their video recorders. In those days, video freeze frame wasn't terribly good. It was
a little bit wobbly.
Yeah, and you'd get video shash all over it.
And only about 400 lines, and not the wonderful 625 it was broadcasting.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, the thing is, the Blu-ray that we did in 2018. Unfortunately, the company that was employed, another outside company, was employed to do the remastering. They were used to remastering film, and I can't go into the technicalities of it, but it is quite complex. If you scan film at a high resolution, it can look amazing. As you know, if you've ever bought a really good Blu-ray of a movie, they can look fantastic, no matter how old the movie, because they scan the original 35mm negative.
Yeah, and it was chemical then, rather than the digital
it was,
pixels.
Yes, and then, but television, of course, made in those days. I mean, there were union agreements to make sure that the film department at Ealing always had plenty of work to do. There were union agreements that a certain portion of the program had to be on film. Now, Monty Python used to make great play of this. They did a sketch about a guy going from the video studio set, going out the door, and suddenly he's on. Wait a minute, I'm on film now. What's going on? And then he'd step back in. So they made a whole thing of that. Well, us old Doctor Who fans, you know, and classic television fans. I mean, I have Talking Pictures TV is on the telly all the time. We're always watching old telly. But I love all that, and I get it. I understand where it was all coming from. But a lot of people don't quite understand, and some people just can't see it. Some people can't see that, you know, all the location stuff and anything that was shot at Ealing Studios was on film cameras, 16mm film, and then all the internal sets generally were studio bound, where you had cameras on pedestals moving around, very traditional, much more theatrical style of program making. And it always baffled me that some people couldn't spot the difference, because I think from a very early age I could see what was going on. So that's the problem, is that when you then go to remaster something, it's difficult to deal with the standard video 625 lines quality. But now we've got AI and we've got enhancement software, and things can be done. In 2018, it wasn't done very well, I have to say. As an outsider, as a freelancer, I can point fingers at the BBC and say, you got the wrong people. But maybe those people now know a bit more about it. I don't know. The people who do know all about it are my friends who do the Doctor Who Blu-rays, because they're taking very old television. Some of it, is the old, what was it, 405 lines, William Hartnell stuff, you know. And they're doing amazing things, blowing it up to brilliant HD quality. And also Mark Ayres, who is a great champion of the Radiophonic Workshop, and who worked on Doctor Who back in the 80s and wrote music for it. He's a genius, and he's got all the software and the knowledge. That's the important part of how to use it. And he manages to take a mono soundtrack, and by alchemy. I mean, in another age, he'd be burnt at the stake. He blows it apart into 5.1 surround sound from this dodgy old recording. Some of them are even taken from fan recordings on 1/4-inch tape.
Good old reel to reel.
And they saved episodes that no longer exist on film. But you've got the quality audio, you know, and Mark does amazing things with it. So I would like one day to have another go and remaster Hitchhikers again properly using all the latest technology, and it will look even better than it does. But still, regardless, the 2002 box set of DVDs I still stand by because they still work. The picture is good, it's fine, it's just, you know, you can celebrate it that way and watch the show and enjoy it for what it was.
In many ways, it almost fits better than having it in full HD because it tells its story in its own way.
There is a psychological thing of like knowing. It's very, I don't know if you find this, but it's very easy to look at something and go, oh, I can see what era that television program is from. You can make a pretty good estimated guess of a bracket of so many years and say that looks like late 60s and this looks like late 70s, and oh, that's definitely an 80s program. Since we've gone post-millennial, in the last sort of 20 years, it's getting hard now to pick it apart and say, when was this thing made? And in the end, it's going to come down to music, sort of styles, clothing, fashion, you know, generally. It's actually quite difficult to see how the picture is dated in the last 20 years. Especially now that we can preserve things and keep them digital and sweeten them up and make them look amazing. So that's a long-term thing. But the book, this new book, I'm hoping will celebrate how it was done back then.
But you'll be able to read it in HD as well. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, yeah. I mean, in this one, I mean, some of the pages were a bit tiny, so we did do transcripts. You know, some of the writing, I thought, well, especially the handwriting, we'll have to transcribe it, and so we put it in plain text to help people read it better. But it's quite nice going through his handwriting, trying to work out what he said, especially when he scratched things out. But there you go. But for the TV one, yeah, we're going to do that. And the other thing is, I've got something else here, is explaining techniques like how we did that.
This is the actual Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy you're holding.
It's not the one in the TV show. It was made just a couple of years later, struck from the same mold.
Yeah.
So it's an identical copy. The buttons are just tiny bit different, but that's a very nitpicking thing. Only a fan would know that. How they did it back then, the problem was that in the old days, if you put a picture within a picture, it had to be lined up ever so carefully. And if you were going to put, you know, the graphics onto this screen, you would have to lock it off and it would have to be square on, and they would have to then jigger around with
all sorts of mats and things.
The vision mixer, would have to put it into the screen. Well, Alan Bell, for all his faults, and he didn't get on with Douglas Adams particularly well, which is sad for me. I got on with both chaps, and I will talk about that. I'll be very honest in the book about that relationship. Alan was very keen to push the envelope, and he had a very good visual effects man, Jim Francis. Both chaps have passed on now, sadly, but I've got interviews with them from when I did it back ages ago, so I can quote them. They wanted Arthur Dent to be able to hold the book and to move it around, and the picture would still be on the screen. So what they did a very, very old-fashioned technique, and it was very funny because we at Peer Studios, where I worked with Rod Lord doing the animation, we had a phone call after the first couple of episodes had gone out from then Computer Magazine. I mean, that was a pretty rare thing in those days, called Datalink, I think they were called. And this chap rang up and said, we've been talking about this in the office. How did you do the animation and how did you get it onto the screen of the book? Was it one of these new Sinclair flat screen TVs we've heard about? But no, you're a bit early for that, mate. No, this was done in a very old-fashioned way. And if I split it apart, right, and show you, there's some stuffing in there to keep it padded out. The back of it, as you turn it round, this screen is made of opal glass. And the projector used to project the 16mm film, which was threaded in backwards, because of course it'd be the wrong way round,
Yeah.
would project on the back of this screen. And what it was the projector was bolted onto a trolley, a little wheelbarrow affair, with a big rod sticking out the front, a big metal rod, and this clamped on the end and carefully lined up. And there was a bit of slippage. It wasn't perfect, but it was good enough. And then if Arthur was looking at the screen and moved the book, or if, better still, the camera wanted to zoom in to the screen, then the projector would always be projecting on that little screen, because it was on a trolley with a stick coming out of it, holding the book, and it would just move and follow the screen around. So simple, just brilliant. I mean, Alan Bell and Jim Francis afterwards used to squabble over who thought that one up, but I think it was a combination of both of them trying to push the envelope, you know. The other thing about this book is I had this in the early to mid 80s. In 1985, I took it along to a signing session. So it is signed inside by Douglas Adams and Mark Davey, who played Zaphod Beeblebrox, and Jeffrey Perkins.
Oh, the late great.
The radio producer. And well, I'm glad Mark is still with us. He lives in New York. So does Simon Jones, who played Arthur Dent.
Yeah.
Mark teaches drama and directs as well. And Simon Jones is he was in a thing just more recent years. He was in a thing called The Golden Age. It was like the American New York version of Downton Abbey.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, he was playing the sort of Carson the Butler role, the very British butler in the New York of 120 years ago. So I recommend that series. I quite enjoyed that, and he's got a nice little role in it. And I mean, he did play King George the, what would it be, fourth, fifth, in Downton Abbey the movie.
Yes.
Because he had that very tailored, slightly pointy white beard, but very distinguished when he was doing it. And they said, "Oh, I'm doing the Downton Abbey movie." He couldn't say what, and I thought, I think I can guess just by looking at him, you know. But no, he's a good chap. So anyway, I want to tell all the stories from behind the scenes in this new book.
Well, you've given us, number one, quite a reading list anyway. Number two, we know there's a book which is going to be probably about 14 months away, which we're absolutely going to need.
Yeah.
So give us all the details again on how we sign up to be part of the early adopters.
It's going great. I mean, it launched at 4:00 on Friday, and I don't know what the current amount is, but I'll just have a quick look and see if we can find out. It was well over 62% last time I saw. Give me a moment. Sorry, tech. Technofear.
And this is not back projected onto your phone. It is actually really
No, isn't that funny? I mean, we all carry these around nowadays. You know, I mean, it is what Douglas was predicting, really, back in the old days. You know, it's an extraordinary thing. I've just gone and lost the page. Anyway, it's unbound.com.
Right.
Ask me another.
Well, it's the fact that you've got all of these the covers that you designed for the scripts back in the day when you were doing things. So
well, I was so enjoying it. I just offered to do anything. There's various bits of graphics that are on the set. I painted "Don't Panic" on the book when they realised they hadn't really got it, and I think the graphic designer from the BBC had supplied a little bit of scrap of Letraset on paper, and that wasn't going to cut it. So they gave me this thick orange scenery paint and a hairy old brush that they found somewhere, because they weren't set up in the studio for doing that kind of thing. And I didn't have time to go back to the office and do it. So I just used what I could, and I painted "Don't Panic." And one day it was shown on Pebble Mill. When the program was broadcast, my boss Rod and Alan Bell went and did a Pebble Mill at 1 interview, which is on the DVD extras.
I have watched it.
And they did a great big horrible close-up on the book, and I thought, oh no, look at that terrible logo. But it's the best we could do at the time. And also, again, for giving old school TV, it was good enough.
It was what was needed, yeah. I mean, it's like when EastEnders went HD, they had to rebuild Albert Square. It's what is needed at the time. You don't build anything extra, do you?
I went on the old Albert Square, and it was, you know, you could see the brickwork was just vacuum formed plastic, and it was peeling at the corners, and they had to keep stapling it back down again and things like that. So the new one, they've used real bricks, I gather. So You know, that's the thing. I'm gonna have to Google this. I can't believe I closed it by accident. Let me go to my if I go to my Twitter account, you'll find it there. If you look for me on Twitter,
Yeah.
Kevin Jon Davies, and on Twitter, or X as we now call it, you'll find me there. So
and you'll be able to see the percentage. But it's
I
not
would
going to be
not
far off ready to roll, and anybody else added in is just an absolute bonus, isn't it?
In actual fact, because last time they did it on Kickstarter, this time they're doing it on their own website. So it's not dependent on reaching 100%, but I'm sure we will. Last time we got 100% on day one. I mean, it's amazing. It's Douglas's name still sells. It still attracts people in that way.
I think your name helps, considering your history as a part of this and being
Well, I
part of
think
the
that's
TV show.
for the aficionados. That's very kind of you to say. For them, yes, probably, but they know who I am. But I'm not well known. I'm merely I'm sort of what was it, Boswell and Dr. Johnson? It's that kind of thing. I'm the Boswell character. I'm celebrating the awesome work of Douglas Adams. That's my role. I see that the British Comedy Guide gave it a good plug the other day. That was nice of them. We went live to India at one point yesterday as well. So that was great. Right, here we are. So you go. It's unbound.com/books/ so I could never get the hang. I never could get the hang of Thursdays. Got to get the quote right.
Yeah.
I think there were minor differences between the book, the play, the radio show, the stage play script, the album script, and that. There were minor differences, but essentially it's that. I never could get the hang of Thursdays, says Arthur Dent. So yeah, if you go there, you'll find it, and please do pre-order the book, because it all just helps gather momentum, get interest going, and make sure that it happens. It is going to happen. I'm convinced. I'm not really too worried about it. I know last time the 42 book, it went 700% over its target. So
I think we will see similar here. I don't think.
I hope. I think I'm realistic. I understand the TV version is not every fan's favourite version. Personally,
it's not the film though.
Oh, well, that's a whole nother controversial issue. I felt sorry for the film guys when they got a bit of a pasting. There was a very, very strongly worded review written by somebody I know who took it to pieces. But I didn't feel that strongly about it. I just thought the problem was, after Douglas died, they got Kerry Kirkpatrick, who'd done Chicken Run and things like that. He revamped the script and they slightly Americanized it. And the problem is they played with Douglas's words. He's finely crafted written words, the sentences, the musicality and the dialogue and everything. They were trying to shorten it because there's bits of felt rushed, and I think if you hadn't seen proper versions of it, then you wouldn't have known. But you'd have glory
I think
in those. Like jokes. My son is 30. Well, he's going to be 32 soon, but he's 31. And when he was a kid, when in 2005, when the movie came out, that was his first encounter. Really, he knew that Dad did something to do with something called HitchHikers. He hadn't seen it. He hadn't got immersed in it. So that was his version. And young people and people that had not encountered the title before seem to enjoy the movie more, and the fans who have died in the wall, fans that loved the radio or adored the books, and or whichever version you first came to it, the stage play or the record album, which was a whole different recording to the radio show. That's a whole sub story. There are variants. Whichever variant brought you into the fold, I hope you still enjoy. As Douglas said, when something new comes along, like, because he used to have people, when he was working in CD-ROMs, people would say to him, does that mean the end of books? And he went, no. Any new technology, it just means everything that went before just shoves up a little bit on the shelf and makes space. It's all still there. Everything's still there. Yeah, or you extend the shelf. Yeah,
it works every time. Well, it's Neil Hannon doing So Long and Thanks for All the Fish is still a wonderful piece of music in my eyes. However you look at it,
that was a lovely. I enjoyed that opener as well.
Yeah. So that was wonderful. But I'd say the TV series was how many people will have visited this first in the 80s, and whether Those of us who sat there with the transistor radio at the age of probably about 6 or 7, listening to this strange thing on the radio and being amazed and enthralled by it, though, have all got different entry points. There is something there for absolutely everybody. This book is going to be truly amazing, I'm sure of it. Kevin Jon Davies, thank you for joining us, telling us a few of the stories, and we look forward to seeing the paper version of much of what we talked about in the not too distant future.
Thank you very much. Thanks for asking me again, and I hope to get to talk to you when the book is a reality, when you can actually hold it in your hands and look through it.
I will be there. See you soon.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. Bye-bye.
That's it all for this week. Thank you so much for joining me. Back with episode 780 next week. I'll see you then. Ta-ra for now.
Goodbye from the milk bar. 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 Yeah. Goodbye from the milk bar. Yeah.